Let's introduce the get method now. I'll have my class, I'll put in Wayne Gretzky, I'll put in Luongo, and then I'm going to ask for some objects out. A few ways to do this. Public hockey player. Actually, let's start with something different. Public void display number of display name of player. And then you give me a jersey number. For example, 99, and I'll tell you the player. For example, Gretzky. Okay. In order to do this, actually, I'm going to need to put a loop in here. So I'll keep this here, but I won't use it yet. That'll come sort of nearer to the end of the lesson, but I want to do this. But we don't know enough yet. Instead, I'll do public. Let me think for a second. I'm going to get an individual. Okay, I'm going to have to do it. This is not a very useful real-life method, but we don't know enough to do something useful yet. You should keep that in mind. This is not very common. I'll do it this way. Public hockey player. That's the return type. What's the return type? Hockey player. I'm giving you a hockey player when you call this method. Get player. Now, you give me an index. And I'll give you the player at that index. This is a pretty weird thing to do. This is not a real-life example, but I need to practice using the get method of the array list out of our for method. We'll improve on this. So keep in mind this is not very useful, but it's okay for now. All I'm going to do is this. Return players.get index. Now let's see what's happening here. When you say size, you're asking how many objects are in an array list. It doesn't require any parameters. It'll count for you. When you say add, you do require a parameter. What are you adding? I'm adding a hockey player. I'm adding a hockey player. When you say get, well, the get method we're using, it requires a parameter. Which element do you want me to get? For example, I'll add only Gretzky into my array list, and my array list will look like this. Players. So I'll put in Gretzky, 99, Gretzky. Actually, and then I'll also put in, after that, Luongo. Remember, I get this index over here. Always starting at 0. It's there whether you like it or not, whether you know it or not. Java does this for us. And now if I say get 1, I'll get this object back. If I say get 0, I'll get this object back. If I say get 2, I'm going to get trouble. We'll try all three of these. I'll put in Gretzky. I'll put in Luongo. I'll get 0, I'll get 1, I'll get 2. Let's try this. So get whoever's at this position. So I'll put in Gretzky first. Here's my hockey team. I'm going to add a player. That's Gretzky. I'm going to add a new player. That's Luongo. Just to make sure everything's okay. There are two, size 2. 0 is Gretzky. Element 1, index 1. Element 1 is Luongo. He's also jersey 1. So now I'm going to call get numbers of players. There's 2. Get player 0. I expect Gretzky here. It did go there. It's gone. Sorry, it's gone. So something's wonky in BlueJ. So I'll have to hack something in here and say system.out.println I could redo the video here, but I'm not going to because you might run into this error as well. It's a BlueJ error, not a Java error. So get player. I'm going to store the hockey player. This is called caching. Hockey player P gets assigned the player you're asking for. If you're asking for 0, then this is player 0, in our case Gretzky, and this will be Gretzky. And now I'm going to print out Gretzky's name. So let's see, the system.out.println should work. I'm not returning anything anymore. I'm just going to display it. Something's wrong with the return in BlueJ. I'll create Gretzky again. My hockey team will have Gretzky as element 0. New player, that's Luongo. I'll inspect it now, make sure. Gretzky's there. Luongo's there. And when I say get player 0, this should be Gretzky. When I say get player 1, this should be Luongo. And when I say get player 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, a million, -1, I get an index out of bounds exception. In the next video we'll clean that up, so if somebody puts a number like 1 billion, it doesn't crash. It'll behave more responsibly.